Flashback.
I wouldn't say that Harry Styles acts like Tommy Wiseau. I'm just going to say it. He isn't exactly an actor.
So I watched My Policeman starring Harry Styles, and there's a lot to talk about. Not all of it is negative, so bear with me. There's just a lot to unpack, even just the general state of Hollywood at the moment. Of course, all without spoilers from the film. So Harry Styles is the name of the moment. He is one of the best-selling artists. Basically, every note that comes out of his mouth tops the charts. He's selling out stadiums, he's selling out merch, he's on every billboard and advertisement. He is a showman, he is a musician, a singer. It's not uncommon for show people to explore different career paths. Sometimes artists who had planned on starting off their career doing one thing found out they were talented at doing another, like Robert Pattinson, who at first wanted to be a musician, or Mark Wahlberg, who back in the days of his hate crimes was better known as rapper Marky Mark.
You feel it, baby.
Then you have the Lady Gagas, whose performances and videos and general persona was such an act in itself that shift into professional acting happened very smoothly. I mean, even Jack Black has such a peculiar personality that can easily cover both music and film.
Rocking and fucking rolling.
And then you have the people who are so famous that their managers will get them to do anything while they're peaking just because it will sell. It happened with Elvis, and it's probably not too far with what's going on with Harry Styles at the moment. He sells so well, people are going to consume any product tied to his name. So although this overlapping in careers happens all the time in smaller portions, it's actually hard to find an actor who hasn't sung or played in a band at one point. Even emo grunge singers like Taylor Momsen were once the little girl for the cringe. It's not a huge deal. It becomes a huge deal when people start to mistake fame, looks, and lucrative management for talent. But we'll get to that in a moment. Before I digress too much, let's get back to My Policeman. It's a very touching story of a young British couple in the 50s, portrayed by Harry Styles and Emma Corrin. They live a simple life by the sea, they're a teacher and a policeman, and they have a very good friend who works as an art curator. But this friend and the policeman, Harry Styles' character, soon realise that they feel much more than just friendship for one another, and embark on a secret relationship, secret from the wife and of course secret from society. This will lead to so many topics for discussion: betrayal, cheating, keeping a relationship a secret, being repressed from society, so you end up in secret relationships because you wouldn't have been able to express yourself normally in the first place. So does our protagonist love his partner anyway? Is he attracted to her anyway? Is he attracted to men in general, or is it this one person in particular? It's tough to know because he can't exactly openly talk about it. Also, how can you keep this secret from your partner for so long with such a big friendship in common? It's a very delicate and dramatic topic which needs to be paired with dramatic and intense acting. There are breakdown scenes, fights, a lot of emotions. Emma Corrin was absolutely magnificent as a woman, for which this topic, of course, in the 50s never even crossed her mind. And she's magnificent even if her character doesn't have a huge deal of lines, which is interesting, as if she nearly were a side character to her own relationship. David Dawson was, in my opinion, the best actor on set, with a very delicate portrayal of somebody who is alone in that world. He doesn't have a wife or a family and can only express himself by meeting up with one-night stands and suffering in silence. And then there's Harry Styles, who, again, as I said in my review of Don't Worry Darling, isn't Tommy Wiseau, but his acting really is an elephant in the room. When I was mentioning earlier Taylor Momsen in The Grinch, we weren't exactly expecting an Oscar-worthy performance, were we? Just as we weren't expecting it from Justin Timberlake in Bad Teacher, Rihanna in Ocean's 8, Snoop Dogg in Day Shift. But with Harry Styles, it appears that because he is a successful singer, people shift this perception of him onto his acting and see him as well fitting into roles which are obviously too big for him. And in particular, when he is then paired with actors who obviously outshadow him and make him appear even worse. If rapper Ludacris acts alongside Dwayne Johnson in the Fast and Furious movies, you can't really tell. Instead, you can spot good actors when they're still in their earlier years and they're totally at ease in scenes with mammoth names in the industry. Lucas Hedges doesn't look at all out of place when he works alongside Nicole Kidman and Meryl Streep and Casey Affleck and Julia Roberts. He was barely 20 in those roles. But as soon as you put Harry Styles in a scene with Florence Pugh, for example, the fight scenes in Don't Worry Darling, it just all comes crashing down. Harry Styles isn't totally new to the world of acting. Famously, he was cast by Christopher Nolan back in the days of Dunkirk, and nobody really complained back at the time, myself included, mostly because there wasn't much he could do wrong, there wasn't much he could mess up. Actually, it was a pity because as the years passed, people tended to remember him more than other great actors from the movie. But still, he is in his first years. So when Don't Worry Darling was released, I said I would wait for My Policeman to have more material to analyse. And it's terrible. I did my best, I went in unbiased, I actually liked the story, I nearly cried at the ending. Not for him. Every single line was painful. You're a broken down, closeted man, who by the way is a policeman, the same force who are rounded up and jailing gay men. You're torn between loving your partner and these sexual desires you can't really understand for another man, and that could all potentially ruin your career, your marriage, your friendships, and the best you can come up with is the same delivery Siri or Alexa would provide. Now, a lot of people, mostly people who were fans of Harry Styles before his acting career, are saying, well, he's just in his first years, give him some time to improve, which is true. If he does keep on acting, he probably will improve, but he's not your young actor fresh out of film school with his whole life in front of him to work on in smaller roles and improve before he becomes famous. He's a musician who also happens to act, and he's a millionaire performer who stars in films that are publicised as never before and seen by millions. The Kristen Stewart of Spencer is not the same Kristen Stewart of Zatura, but that was 17 years ago. How many people do you know that have seen Zatura? So why is Harry Styles cast in these projects? Why will he keep on being cast regardless of his lack of acting talent? It's looks and fames, nothing more. That cashable value overrides talent. And I'm not saying this in a hateful way towards him. On the contrary, it makes me sad knowing that he's been exploited as a cash machine, where at the same time there are much more talented actors out there. I'll give you a good recent example. Just the other night I watched a new film called Funny Pages and I absolutely loved it. It's the story of a young aspiring cartoonist who on his pursuit of fulfilling this career meets all sorts of odd and different people who influence him in different ways. Lawyers, really odd landlords, his annoying parents, his best friend, co-workers, and one person he meets at his lawyer's office, and a person who is dealing with a lot in life and who ends up playing an important role in the film is a character portrayed by Matthew Mayer. Now, Matthew Mayer is an incredibly talented actor who you will have spotted across different famous films and series over the years. Now, why will somebody who gives emotion-fueled, nerve-wracking performances like the one recently provided in Funny Pages never even be compared to anything Harry Styles will ever provide in a film? Of course, I know one is more famous than the other. I'm just talking about pure acting talent here. Their names will never come across in the same sentence because Matthew Mayer doesn't fit in what people consider a fashionable look at the moment. Okay, Matthew Mayer is too niche for you? Olivia Colman. Olivia Colman is a multiple award-winning actress who is literally considered by critics one of the best working at the moment. But trust me, when we get to numbers and fame, she'll always be way behind the Gal Gadots and Zendayas and Alexandra Daddarios. Again, I'm not saying this in any hateful way towards these other actresses. I'm just saying we need to keep into consideration what Hollywood values the most. If Hollywood really did value talent, everybody would be talking about Sam Rockwell and not Henry Cavill. And at the same time, maybe Henry Cavill wouldn't only be covered because of his muscles. Paul Dano, it was a miracle he was cast in the Batman, otherwise he would still remain an unknown name to many. It's also our fault as viewers. Hollywood is just feeding us what we're willing to pay for. Look what happened with Evan Peters. He's an incredibly talented actor who for years has been giving great performance. I mean, he's even acted with Al Pacino at one point. And now, when he finally got immense worldwide recognition for Dahmer, what is every person on planet Earth pointing out? How hot he is. I mean, me ranting about Harry Styles for the last 15 minutes is probably just free publicity for the film, and films like My Policeman do kind of rely on this sort of gossip. All the chit chat, the tweets, everything is just pushing the name up those lists. But at the same time, this makes me look forward to sharing with you more and more titles that don't end up in those highest grossing lists. Or maybe just some topics to see Hollywood under a different perspective, or to form your own opinion on films. And please go watch Funny Pages. Of course, I would love to hear your thoughts on all these topics, so make sure to leave a comment down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.